Hi guys, welcome back. Long time no see, no talk about bullet journaling, um, or creativity or anything else because I have been on a two-part break, which was student teaching and then also kind of a creative sabbatical. So I've been finishing up my degree. I actually just got it in the mail the other day because we're not doing graduation ceremonies anymore. And I had kind of in the back of my mind thought, maybe I want to make some videos about the process of student teaching in COVID because it was definitely more interesting and exciting and wild than it was supposed to be. But also, I just couldn't. I'm sorry. I think those videos would have been an interesting historical relic, but hopefully, well, I didn't really journal that much either, but hopefully my journal can serve as my record of living through these times that we're living in. I will get to that first. Before I forget, I want to talk about my new journal here. I decided to go with a Moleskine, grid / square journal, however you like to call it, because I loved my grid squared Moleskine journal last year, and funnily enough, I didn't even finish all the pages, even though it was only one volume for the whole year, which was not at all like my past patterns, but it's been wild. So I was like, oh, I don't want to get the same exact notebook. And so the only squared journal that I could find was this one, which is a A4 size. I forget the smaller numbers or the bigger sizes. It's an A4 size journal, so it's like the size of a printer sheet of paper about. And so far I have been loving it. It's super fun to set up pages and be able to stay on them and work with them for a longer time, because I always feel like in the A5 size, just when it's starting to get good, I have to turn the page and start all over again with my theme for the rolling dailies, or not theme, but just general putting together a look for a page. So yeah, this has been really fun so far. It's actually, as I'm recording this, January 30th, which tells you about how my creative process has been working, which is as slow as molasses. Okay, so what should I talk about? Creative sabbatical or student teaching? I will start with creative sabbatical because I have not been using my bullet journal as much as I typically have in the past. Over the course of 2020, my Moleskine ended up with maybe 80 blank pages at the end. It was crazy. I would just write things down and then forget to use it. And part of that was because of student teaching. I was on my feet all day. I wasn't at a desk, managing my tasks like I would with homework for school. Because with teaching, a lot of that is you just kind of have to remember stuff on the fly and you don't have time to sit down and take out your stickers and junk. And there may be a way that bullet journaling can work for me in that context, but I haven't, fully figured that out yet. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, but just because I haven't been using my bullet journal as much doesn't mean I haven't been doing creative art things. Over the past 6 months or so, I picked up hand sewing as a hobby, just in the interest of like sustainability and my own taste. I've always low-key wanted to learn how to make my own clothes, but I found a sewing machine to be extremely intimidating. So I taught myself how to stitch by like doing some minor alterations to clothes I had that didn't fit me. Just like taking in different parts of them and whatever. And then I figured I would just jump in and sew a dress by hand. And so I like bought a pattern and fabric and cut out the pieces, and it would have been so hard with a sewing machine, but by hand it was easy to see how all the different pieces fit together and take my time figuring out how that assembly worked. And it was also a lot more low-key because I got to, instead of sitting over a sewing machine, I could like sit and watch Steven Universe with my little brother and annoy my whole family by having the living room lights on overhead really bright in the middle of the night so I could see my black fabric on black thread on black leggings, So that's been good. I've also taken up like a messy sketchbook. I am intending to go back and finish using my other one as a messy sketchbook once I can wrap my head around that. But for now, I bought like just like a random blank notebook that I found at the bookstore, and I've been using that as a messy sketchbook. The idea, which I got from Fran Nerd or Fran Meneses, I love her perspective on creativity and illustration, and just kind of like, I don't know, I think she has a really cool way of talking to herself and by extension to her viewers in her own creative language and making it seem, really down to earth and like it all makes sense. Anyways, I've been watching the heck out of her videos. I can put a link in the description if I remember. I will. That's important. What else have I been doing? So I've been doing that. I have just kind of been like drawing and sketching and doodling and working on, my image rendering skills. I guess I haven't had any like grand creative ideas, although I have had some weird dreams that I drew. But I don't know, it's just been kind of fun to explore that facet of my creativity without having any like expectations of like, how do I fit this into like a cute little sticker sheet and monetize it and blah 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 blah. Not to say that that's bad, but sometimes I think for me it became like a burden on the artistic process to always feel like, oh, I gotta turn this into something that I can, put in my little Etsy shop. So it's been nice to take a break from that. So I did have my shop like on vacation mode for the past, 4 months since I started my student teaching, because I just knew that would be way too much to keep up with. But it is open again now, and I've been slowly putting up some new designs in there. One of those is my Safe Harbor sticker for 2021. My Right Where You Are sticker for 2020 ended up being unintentionally prophetic, and, we got, a couple weeks into quarantine, I was staring at the front of my bullet journal and I was like, what if I made this happen? So I wanted to make sure that my 2021 sticker set a good theme or intention or whatever for the year that could not be, misconstrued by an evil genie trying to give me my wish in the worst way possible. If that makes sense. I'm totally rambling here. It's like almost 11 at night, but all my roommates are out of the house right now, so I wanted to take this opportunity to talk to myself. Oh yeah, and so by the time that this video is up, I will also have my new like keyboard stickers. I don't know how I'm gonna title them on my shop, but it's something I'm really excited about. It's kind of this like weird idea I had, but I've always loved the image of a keyboard to encourage me to like sit down and write or be creative or deal with stuff, you know, like emails and whatever, but mostly just to write. And so I did a series of like clear paper stickers that have like a translucent keyboard overlay on like a really pretty picture that I doodled around, and I don't know if they're gonna speak to other people, but they really speak to me, so I figured I'd put them up and see what you guys think. And I'll have a link to my shop in the description and in the cards if I can remember that. We will see. Or you will see. I don't know. But speaking of writing, that was, I mean, I did do the drawing. Not as much as I would have liked, but I did do some of that. But the big thing that I did this last 4 months, honestly 6 months since I put up a video, but 4 months since I've been, you know, doing my regular creative stuff, was that I worked a ton on my book that I'm writing. I finally finished the like last act of it, which I went back and worked on first. So I'm only like a third done, even though I finished the end of the book, which I did over the course of student teaching. I found that I was pretty much cooked by the end of a full day of teaching first graders, so I started getting up really early in the morning to have some me time, and what that mainly looked like was me getting up at 5, and I have like, maybe I can insert a clip here, maybe not, maybe next video, but I have a coffee station at the foot of my bed. So I have like a kettle and a French press and a hand grinder for coffee beans, and it's so choice, you guys, because I can literally silence my alarm and sit up and start a cup of coffee right in front of me without ever having to untuck my little feet from the bed. It's so good. I don't know how I would have survived this semester if I hadn't had my coffee station right there. So that's been good. A cup of French press coffee before I ever leave bed in the morning. And then it would be about like 5 a.m. So I would get up and I would watch like Violet Evergarden or K-On! Or whatever I was vibing to at the minute. And just like knit. And then as soon as I was like a little bit awake and I'd finished my coffee, I would sit in bed and I have my whole manuscript printed out on printer paper or whatever. It's like 400 pages long and single-sided and messy because I've been carrying it around for like a year, working on ideas for things I'm gonna revise and rewrite and stuff, and just like work through those pages and type and listen to music, and it's like such a good writing routine for me because I feel like I'm procrastinating when I have to get up and start my day by sitting in bed and like working on my book and kind of plodding through those words. So that was awesome, and I got through a ton that way, and I'm really, really excited about my book. Yeah, mainly because the ending is a lot better than the beginning, so that's probably why I chose to start working on that section first, but someday I'll get there. yeah, so now I'm not sure if that's what I'm going to be doing this year. I don't know if I'll get to the point where I start submitting that, but I feel like it kind of is this year. I don't know. Oh yeah, so you just saw me write my goals, and this is like a little letter I wrote to myself where I was like, wow, things have been happening, and I needed to kind of unpack a little bit of that. And then in my year goals, I wrote my side quest for this year was to break the curse, because, you know, as cursed as 2020 has been for just kind of like humankind as a whole, and Americans in particular, and people who are, you know, don't have a financial safety net, and people who are immunocompromised in particular, it was very unlucky for me in not a very serious way, but a very, like, I was so worn down, you guys, because I had my own little series of unfortunate events happening every week, sometimes multiple times a week, with new installments. I don't know what it was. It was like suddenly I was a magnet for misfortune. I got my first car right before I started student teaching, and then about a month into that, my younger brother, having just gotten his license, swung around in the driveway and crashed into my car, which was parked there. So I had to like leave that at home and get it fixed, and that was a mess. And then I broke my tooth, like one of my molars, just a huge piece of it cracked off. And I wasn't even eating anything hard. I was eating like bunny grams or something ridiculous like that. And then one of my friends had appendicitis, and there was no one here, so I had to take her to the emergency room mid-COVID, being in a classroom. I had a couple of COVID scares, which I feel like is not unheard of, but it was really, really stressful for student teaching, because like, if you're in that situation, especially if you're like a new, less experienced teacher like I am, leaving and then coming back is like you have to start all over with classroom management with the kids, and like reassert yourself as someone that they have to listen to. And it's so hard, because every time one of my roommates would start getting a cough or whatever and would go get a COVID test, I had to stay home and I couldn't teach. Eventually I figured out a way to like teach from Zoom to the smartboard in the classroom, and that was an experience. But so that was just really challenging and tricky. What else? There were so many things. I locked my keys in my car, or not in my car, in the car I was borrowing, because my car was broken. I had to get AAA to help me get them out. And then the car died, and then I had to get AAA to come give me a jump start. And then, I feel like there was something else. I don't know, guys. So it was just crazy, because all this stuff kept happening. Like, I would get through a week and be like, okay, that was crazy, but it happened, and now I can recover and move on, and I don't have to have whiplash anymore. And then the next week it would be like just something new, one of these other crazy things. And then my whole class went to distance learning in November. Before then, we'd been mostly in class, one kid distance, so I would teach to the laptop on Zoom, sitting there in the midst of the sea of kids. But then after that, all the kids went distance, so we had to like completely reshape all the lesson plans, everything. And send home all the materials organized by day for every single kid. And just, oh my goodness. I like, and I was in a relatively like privileged school. I just think that public school teachers deserve the world and all the support they can get for the amount of work that they take on for the sake of the students in their class. And also, it just should not be the school system's job to, provide for all these inequities in children's lives. Like, there should be more programs to do that besides just saying you get lunch at school. Like, we need more socialist policies to provide for kids, because it's absolutely ridiculous what schools and underpaid teachers take on to, make sure that kids have a good life. It's wild. Where was I before I got on my soapbox? Oh yeah. Okay, so that was why I did not make a video for the entire period between June and December. Nope, just kidding. It's January. So yeah, I did go 6 months without making a video. I'm gonna try to do more this year. I want to do more, but I don't want to do more in the way that I'm used to making videos, which is like kind of stressful for me. I need to figure out a way to make videos in a way that's like fun and doesn't freak me out. Because even this is my second time around doing this voiceover. And like cutting all these clips together, and oh my goodness, you guys, linking the things in the description and writing that out and like uploading it to YouTube is just a killer for me in terms of actually getting the video out there. So we'll see. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to be putting up, whether it's going to be more monthly plan with me's like this. I think I'm going to try to do one for February now that it's almost February. I think that would be easy enough. Yeah. But I also thought about maybe making some videos about like fiber arts projects I've got going on. Like, I'm going to try to recreate this super cool sweater that's in the Met right now, this like bicycling sweater with these huge awesome sleeves. I got yarn for that for Christmas. That was one of my gifts. So that's something I'm going to work on, and I might start another hand sewing project soon. I'm not sure what that'll be yet, but if you're interested in any of that, just tell me, because like I love communicating with you guys. I really do. I just feel like I've been kind of floundering around in space for so long that I'm not sure what I'm doing here anymore exactly. I mean, yeah. Because, I don't know, I feel like at this point in my life, like saying, oh, I'm just making my plan with me for this month and it's not going to be chaotic and everything's going to be great, is just like not realistic. And so that's not what I want to promise. I want to promise to you that I will do my best to give you something that I think might be of value, and we'll kind of see where we go from there. What else? I am working on figuring out what's next for me, I guess. I'm thinking of teaching abroad. The program I really wanted to do, the applications are closed, so I'm looking into other programs, but I'm thinking about going abroad. I can't imagine a better time to get out of America than now. So And, I'm not, I have my degree now. I can. It's just kind of figuring out what that'll look like and how much I can tolerate being away from my puppy and my little siblings. But, we'll see. I'd really like to go to Japan and teach, I think. So that's kind of something that's on the back burner for me. That and just kind of living life. I'm really trying not to put too much pressure on myself after having just come out of like the most intense pressure cooker of a last semester of college that probably anyone has ever had ever. I mean, that's not true, but it sure feels like it sometimes. What else? I hope you're doing okay. I hope that life is, if it's not being kind to you, it's at least not, pushing you down too hard. It's tough out there. I know it is. And I know that we all have a lot on our minds right now. But I would just encourage you to just carve out some joy for yourself in the places that you can. Go run out onto the lake with your dog and throw snowballs for her to catch, and write sassy letters to yourself, and have problems with authority, and just kind of do you. Alright, I will do my darndest to talk to you soon. I love you a lot. Okay, bye.
For this part.